What up, YouTube boxing fans? It's your boy Av, Sweet Science Brothers, coming to you live from NYC. I wanted to talk to you guys about some interesting news, interesting development that just happened. It seems Freddie Roach is getting a lot of, there's a lot of articles coming out dealing with Freddie Roach. So, it turns out that Jean Pascal, former light heavyweight champion Jean Pascal, recently hired Freddie Roach to help him prepare for his rematch with the most dangerous man in boxing, the most feared man in boxing, Sergey Kovalev. And first of all, I gotta give credit to Jean Pascal. He's a tough son of a bitch. You know, like, just, he's got balls of steel, man. You know, he's cut from a different cloth than a lot of these other pussy-ass fighters that we have nowadays, because let me tell you something, man. I've been watching boxing all my life, and Jean Pascal took one hell of a fucking beating from Sergey Kovalev. And I mean, like, I'm telling you, I didn't like the way his eyes looked in that fight, man. You know, when Sergey Kovalev was hitting him in his temple, chin, hitting him, catching him with clean, big, clean shots, I saw this look in Jean Pascal's eyes, man. And I didn't like what I saw. And, you know, there were some idiots. I remember there's a lot of people who hate Sergey Kovalev and hate Gennady Golovkin for whatever reason, because they're racist or whatever. They just got a lot of haters for some reason. I can't fathom how you could be a boxing fan and not like those two guys, you know? I mean, you could have some qualms about Gennady Golovkin's opposition, sure. You know, but to just hate them, like the type of hate that they're getting, you can't really, I mean, I don't know how a boxing fan could hate these guys. They do what they're supposed to do. They do what fighters are supposed to do. But going back to Sergey Kovalev and his fight with Jean Pascal, you know, I remember the next day after the stoppage, Jean Pascal, you know, there were so much people on all the boxing forums on Facebook and on everywhere, you know, they were talking about, oh, it was early stoppage. It was early stoppage. I don't know what type of drugs you motherfuckers are smoking. Whoever had that opinion that Sergey Kovalev versus Jean Pascal was a bad stoppage, like, bro, you got, if you hold that opinion, something's wrong with you, or you never been in a ring, you never had it, you never got punched in the face before, or something. I don't know what the case is, but if you felt that that was an early stoppage, something's wrong with you. You know, I'm telling you right now, if you didn't pay attention maybe or something, go watch that fight again. Sergey Kovalev versus Jean Pascal. He had a crazy look in his eyes, man, when he was getting hit. And I'm going to tell you something. He was close to death, bro. We're not talking about a knockout here. You know, some guys, there are guys out there who, they have a God-given chin. You know, their skull is just, you know, designed a certain way, and their chin, they just have like a particular, you know, like a particular, like their head is shaped a certain way, and they're developed a certain way, and they just have a natural, like, propensity to take a lot of damage. Like, there's some guys that just can't be knocked out, or it's just incredibly difficult to knock them out. Anyone can get knocked out, but some people just, the way their head is shaped and the shoulders and just the way they stand, their fighting stance in correlation to how their head is shaped, you know, they could just take tremendous damage. They don't get knocked out easily. You know, you have guys like that. And Jean Pascal seems to be one of those people. He was taking tremendous fucking damage in that fight. His brain was being rattled and his life was in fucking danger. He was about to be killed. Trust me when I tell you this. I've been watching boxing all my life. He was about to die in that fight. He was about to be ended for life. If not killed, or given brain bleeding or some type of severe life-altering, like, brain damage, definitely his boxing career will be over. Like, I'm telling you right now, if that fight wasn't stopped, if that fight was allowed to continue, maybe go on another round or two the way it was going, he would have been killed, man. He would have been like Magomed, that guy Magomed who had that brain bleeding, or like that undefeated Puerto Rican fighter on recently in the PBC card. I hope he's okay. I didn't read about him, but I know that he had brain bleeding, that he almost he was almost killed. He was like in a coma for a little while. I think he got better. I hope he got better. All I'm saying is that Jean Pascal was, he had a first class ticket plane ride to that location where those fighters went. That's where he was going. Thank God that referee stopped that fight. Thank God that fucking referee stopped that fight. I don't want to see any fighter get hurt that badly. I don't want to see that. So anybody who thinks the fight was stopped earlier, you're crazy. Something's wrong with you, man. Something is fucking wrong with you. Now going back, he took a hell of a fucking beating. But he was landing some big shots on Sergey Kovalev. I don't attribute that to Sergey Kovalev's defense, because Sergey Kovalev has excellent defense. I attribute the good punches and the nice work that Jean Pascal did land on Sergey Kovalev, I attribute that to his chin. When you're giving a guy flush shots to the chin, like Sergey Kovalev was landing these big shots, you open up a little bit to get hit back. So, obviously, Sergey Kovalev took some hits back, but he beat the shit out of Jean Pascal. And that's why I said Jean Pascal has balls of steel. He's got the heart of a lion. I can't fucking believe that he wants a rematch with Sergey Kovalev. I don't know what the thinking is behind that. But all I know is that he fought that undefeated Cuban Gonzalez, and it was a hell of a fight. I thought that fight was a draw. A lot of people say Gonzalez, no, I take that back, I'm sorry. I thought Pascal won the fight. It was close, but he won. I thought he clearly won. It was close, like I said, but I thought he won. A lot of people kept saying the Cuban guy won. I don't think so. I thought Pascal was, I thought it was his best performance. So, like I said, Pascal has balls of steel, because he went in there, because that guy was supposed to be Kovalev's mandatory. So what Pascal did to get a rematch with Kovalev is he went and fought his mandatory and took him out so that he could get this rematch, and it's happening. Now on to the topic at hand. Jean Pascal hired Freddie Roach to help him fight against Sergey Kovalev. And, this is a really interesting development. I'm sure a lot of people are going to think, oh, wow, yeah, Freddie Roach, he's going to help Jean Pascal, and this is a good move for him. But I don't hold that opinion, and I'm going to explain why. Freddie Roach is all wrong for Jean Pascal, and he's all wrong for this fight. All wrong, all wrong. Freddie Roach is an offensive trainer, offensive-minded trainer, okay? And Jean Pascal does not need to get more offensive against the deadliest man in boxing. That's the last fucking thing he needs to do, is get more offensive. He needs to work on his defense. If he hired somebody like Nazim Richardson or, Virgil Hunter or somebody else who's more defensive-minded, I'd be like, oh, that's a good move. But he hired Freddie Roach, an offensive-minded trainer. And that's crazy. Like, I don't know what the thinking is with that choice. That's a crazy choice. I don't think that's going to help him. I think he's going to get washed up like a lot worse with Freddie Roach in his corner. And I want to say some things about Freddie Roach. I want to say a couple of things about him. I've said things in the past about it, and I'm gonna say some things again, because they need to be said. Okay? Freddie Roach is an excellent trainer. He's a Hall of Fame trainer. He's great, and all of that. Yada, 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 all that jazz. He's a great trainer. He's one of the best out there, sure. But he has flaws as a trainer. He's not perfect. He is not perfect, and I feel like, he's getting a lot more credit than he deserves for a few things, and I'm going to explain. Victor Postal, okay, because everyone's talking about Freddie Roach is such a great trainer, so I have to mention this. Freddie Roach has got a lot of credit for the Victor Postal win. And he doesn't not deserve a fucking ounce of credit for that fight. Because the reality is that Postal's trainer is Marvin Somodio. He's the one training Postal, okay? He's training Pascal all the time in the wild card. He's the one who was with Pascal in most of his fights. And Freddie Roach only shows up like the celebrity trainer when he's got nothing else to do. Then he'll show up for the fight for Pascal. And secondly, okay, in the fight with Victor Pascal versus Lucas Matisse, and I know this video is about Jean Pascal, but in that fight, okay, Freddie Roach was giving Jean Pascal some fucking bullshit advice, man. He was giving Victor Pascal some bullshit advice, telling him to throw combinations and get involved in all these exchanges in the first 2 rounds, 3 rounds. He kept telling him throw more punches, this, that, and the third. And and Victor Pascal, he would go out there and he didn't listen to a fucking word Freddie said. He was working his jab, working his clinch, you know, doing what a tall man is supposed to do, okay? And then when he, you know, listen, when you're doing a master class, it's like baking a cake or something. You got to get all the ingredients together. You got to put it in the oven for a certain amount of time, and that's what he did to Lucas Matisse. He was working the jab, pot shotting him, clinching him every chance he could, you know, being way too far or way too close, you know, doing all the right things that he was supposed to do in that fight. And he wore Lucas Matisse down. And then finally, you know, in the later rounds, when the cake was ready to be taken out of the oven, that's when Victor Pascal started piecing, you know, started dropping big shots and started putting some combinations together on Lucas Matisse. But if you watch the fight, Freddie Roach was telling him to do that shit in the 2nd and 3rd round, okay? And you know what? Freddie Roach was dead fucking wrong, bro, and Pascal knew it. Pascal is a fucking, he's an Olympian. This guy's been around the block, okay? Pascal is, you know, it's not like he's not some guy Freddie Roach took to the top. He's a guy who has tremendous skill, and he came to the wild card with skills, okay? So he did what he knew he was supposed to do. And then when the guy was ready, he put the combinations together. And then Max Kellerman and other people were saying, oh, Freddie Roach was telling him that maybe if he did it earlier, it would have happened earlier. No, it wouldn't have. If Jean Pascal let his hands, if Victor Pascal let his hands go early in the Matisse fight, Matisse would have caught him big time. No, you have to put the ingredients together. You got to put the cake in the oven. You know what I'm saying? That's how masterclass is put together. You know what I'm saying? So when the time was right, that's when he started exchanging. You know, but Freddie Roach was telling him to do that shit in the 2nd round, 3rd round. It's like, come on, man. No, it wasn't time for that. And Victor Pascal knew what time it was. He knew what to do. So I don't like the fact that he gets all this credit. Now, Freddie Roach is one of the best trainers in the game. But like I said in the beginning, Freddie Roach is an offensive-minded trainer. Okay? And, you know, that's not what Jean Pascal needs when he's facing Kovalev January 30th. He does not need that. I think this is really bad for him. And, you know, when I was watching him in the Gonzalez fight, Jean Pascal's last fight, his defense was a lot better. His head movement was good. He was, you know, he was in and out. He was doing things that I really liked. And I said, you know what? That would have been better if he tried to focus more of that when he was fighting Kovalev. But then he goes ahead and he hires Freddie Roach. And like I said, I think Freddie Roach is the wrong trainer. The wrong trainer to prepare yourself for Kovalev. You know what I'm saying? This is just my opinion. We don't know what's going to happen, but I predict that Jean Pascal is going to get his ass fucking whooped even worse in this rematch. But anything can happen. Maybe Freddie Roach will prepare some new game plan that we've never seen before. But to be honest with you, all I've seen from Freddie Roach is just getting people like offensive-minded. And I just think that that's the wrong thing to do for Sergey Kovalev. That's the wrong thing to do, not just for Jean Pascal. That's the wrong thing to do for any fighter who's about to face Sergey Kovalev. So that's just my opinion. You know, I just think Freddie Roach, you know, it's the wrong trainer for Pascal and the wrong guy to hire to prepare for Kovalev. That's my opinion. Let me know how you guys think. Sweet Science Brothers coming to you live from Brooklyn. Holler at your boy. Peace.